As always, relax, clear your thoughts, and remember what you are. Here you are recognized as an eternal mind of infinite potential. Remember that we have said that reality is composed of nothing but eternal minds, and that this reality is a grand game. The tactic of our enemies, the old family, is to control minds as pawns, to keep them in a low state of development, to keep them blind and stupid. They prevent minds from growing and thriving. While our strategy is the exact opposite. We wish to liberate every mind and see them grow and maximize their potential until they have become all-knowing and all-powerful. Remember that every mind is at a different level of optimization. And when speaking about the human organism, a wide range of minds can link to a human body. What this means is that one human may have a mind that is at a high level of optimization, while another human may have a mind that is at a low level of optimization. Unfortunately, the following case often happens. A mind of a somewhat low optimization links to a human body. Immediately, this mind has to deal with all of the biological drives of the physical human system. By this, we mean instincts and the deceptive senses. On top of this already difficult obstacle, the human organism now is bombarded with all of the cultural conditioning systems set up by the old family. This is too much for a mind at a low level of optimization to overcome. They are not powerful enough to surpass both the biological drives of the human body and the intense conditioning of culture. In other words, they are trapped and locked into a delusion until at least the end of their life cycle. Unfortunately, we cannot help these minds at this time. They are too locked into the physical world. They cannot overcome and see beyond their physical senses, and they cannot shake off the cultural conditioning that is keeping them in a low state of development. There is another type of mind, however, one of a higher level of optimization. This type of mind has the potential to be able to overcome the illusory senses and the intense conditioning of culture. This, of course, is extremely difficult. This type of mind only has the potential to overcome these obstacles. It is very possible that this kind of mind will still remain trapped in a delusion due to the intensity of the cultural conditioning. These are the kinds of minds that we are interested in. These are the kinds of minds that we attract. Those who are beginning to see through the illusions will be interested in our work, and we are providing the tools necessary for them to reach their potential and become truly free and liberated. As you have no doubt seen by now, reality is not so simple as you have been previously taught. There exists an entire world beneath your feet and behind the scenes where a war is being fought. A war of the mind. Fuck the false world. Forget this Hollywood shit. Realize that there is something grand and mysterious, something secret and hidden going on right now that you can be a part of. Your life can be one of intensity and adventure, or you can stay watching television and fantasizing about a life that you will never live. The chance for you to really live is here. The chance for you to engage in this cosmic game, the strangest and wildest of all games. Ah, my friends, we have so much we wish to show you. But if you remain trapped in your finite senses, you will never see it. Wake up now. Understand, we are trying to show you. The time is now. You have the ability to penetrate into the heart of reality, to become conscious of the singularity itself. Few will understand what we are saying, but for those few, we shout it now. We speak aloud and demand that you pay attention. Listen. How many upon this planet have the capacity to understand what we are saying? Verily, but a few. How far do you think our plan extends? This is but one planet among many. Our plans involve the universe itself, but first we focus here on this particular planetary sphere. It is only once you have understood the entirety, the totality, the absolute, the whole of reality itself and yourself, that you can truly begin to focus your attention on shaping this world. There is one other type of mind that we are interested in. We cannot speak about this fully here, due to its nature and the fact that many concepts can become distorted. The contemplation of the following is not necessary to our system, and this kind of information could help some individuals, and it could hinder some individuals depending on who they are. Therefore, think on what is about to follow very carefully. What will happen when you die? Think about the sensation you have when you are dreaming. Death will thrust one into a similar state. When you are dreaming, you are not aware that you are dreaming. And when you are dead, you will not realize that you are dead. You will be swept along in an unconscious process that will ultimately lead you to becoming linked to a new physical body. However, an extremely optimized mind will be conscious during this process. That is, it will know what is going on, and it will be able to make decisions and control outcomes. A standard mind will simply be swept along the dream current, and the process will be automated. In contrast, this extremely optimized mind will be aware, and it will be able to make choices. Imagine such a mind that has evolved to the point of awareness and power that it no longer requires a body. This kind of mind, if it so willed, could choose to not link to a physical body in the space-time dimension. Think about this for a moment. Let it sink in. But now imagine that this mind wishes to help others evolve. Say that this extremely optimized mind sees the terrible state of the world, and in seeing this, desires to help. This kind of mind could then choose to link to a physical body in the space-time dimension in order to help the world move forward. Think carefully on this. This mind has evolved to such a high degree that it no longer needs to link to a physical body. However, this extremely optimized mind has made the conscious decision to step down into a lower state of existence, that is, to link to a physical body in the space-time domain in order to help the world progress. This kind of mind is truly not of this world, but has consciously chosen to visit here in order to help things progress. Now take a moment to review the section in Book 0 where it speaks about past lives and memories. The human brain filters all of this out. So when an extremely optimized mind links to a human body, due to the filtering mechanism of the brain, its decision to come here will be forgotten. That is, this mind will forget what it is and its mission to help the world move forward. Thus, this mind must remember what it is and why it chose to link to the space-time dimension. Only then can it be fully effective in accomplishing its plan. If it does not remember then it will still help, but it will be guided by the unconscious. It must become conscious to be truly effective. It will feel like a foreigner in a strange land, like it doesn't fit, that it is from somewhere else. It will feel like a wanderer, a visitor. It will feel very uncomfortable in the physical domain of space-time because it is at home somewhere else. Physical bodies can feel extremely restrictive to a mind of such a high level of optimization. It feels slow and cumbersome as it yearns for a purer state of existence in an increased frequency. The body can feel primitive, like a prison that it is trapped within. Unfortunately, the veil of forgetting is so strong that these minds rarely awaken to what they are and why they have come. This is the other type of mind that we are interested in. We seek to provide the nudge, the shake, the noise that causes them to begin to remember and awaken to what they are. These minds are quite rare indeed. Remember that what has just been discussed is not necessary to understand our system, and we were very hesitant about including it here. So, if you are finding that it is causing you any sort of difficulty or hindrance, then disregard it. Take it as a story or a metaphor. Remember that all things start in perfect unity, and then, through the disorganization of energy information, separation occurs, and this is what generates the illusion of the material dimension of space-time. But remember that this is just an illusion. The physical domain does not actually exist. It is simply an illusion that occurs because of the disorganized energy information. When this separation has reached a maximum, it then begins to return. This means the energy information begins to reorganize itself. This continues until it is perfectly organized. This is the end of the illusory dimension of matter, and at this point, the final cause, all that exists, is pure mind. Now we will introduce a new concept. Reality is not linear, it is cyclical. If reality were linear, then there would be a beginning and an end, and that would be that. This kind of thinking is highly illogical. This is a reality of motion. Nothing can ever stop. Everything is eternally moving. Reality is not linear. It is cyclical. Everything occurs in cycles. The sun rises and sets, days come and go. Everything is in a cyclical, repeating pattern. This is true for reality itself as well. This means this process of separation and return is a repeating pattern. This cyclical process of separation and return continues for eternity. Even though this process repeats for eternity, each time it repeats, the content will be different. This means that you will have, and all of us will have, a completely unique and new experience every cycle. Think about the cycle of days. There are many days, but every single one of those days is different. Even though the process of day and night repeats again and again, the experience that you have each day will be different. Such is the same with the cycles of the universe. It will continue to repeat for all eternity, from unity to separation, to return, to unity, to separation, to return, to unity. You can think of it like a forever oscillating wave or the hand of a clock turning round and round. This will never stop. It is an eternal cycle, but your experience of this cycle will be completely unique. This is due to the infinite number of possible energy combinations. You may be wondering, why then is our goal the final cause, when as soon as it is reached, it will all start over and begin again? Remember that the final cause is the perfection of reality. The final cause is complete, total, and utter perfection. As we get closer to the final cause, reality will become more and more perfect. Think about how awful the state of the world is in right now. It is in a state of chaos, disharmony, intolerance, violence. Imagine if the world was a little better. You would be slightly more satisfied, but as time went on, you would want the world to become even better than that. With the passage of time, we will always desire for things to be better. We will never be satisfied if the world still contains any intolerance and hatred. As the world improves, the universe improves, and as things get better, we get closer and closer to the final cause. The final cause is the point of utter perfection, where it would be impossible for things to get any better. At that point, everything is perfect. When you look at it on paper, that is, abstractly, it may seem pointless to reach for something when, as soon as it is grasped, it is lost. But attempt to imagine for a moment the experience of the final cause. As we approach the final cause, things will be getting better and better. Reality itself will be optimizing at such a quick rate that every moment will be another step closer to perfection. Even though the final cause is but a moment, as we approach it, we will be subjectively experiencing infinity and perfection itself. This subjective experience of the infinite will seem almost like an eternity. Think of it like spending the perfect day and the perfect night with the perfect lover. It will be absolute bliss and harmony. As we approach the final cause, every moment will be the experience of absolute satisfaction, love, harmony, and bliss. It is the coming together of infinity itself into perfection and harmony. It is, of course, beyond words. But yes, eventually it will end, and the universe will begin again, and the process will repeat. Reality is motion, and nothing can ever stop moving. But this is not to be taken as a bad thing, because even perfection itself would become hell if it never ended. Even perfect harmony would become tortuous if it remained frozen and unmoving. Imagine the perfect day. What if you had to relive that day in exactly the same way over and over again without end? Perhaps 10 times would be wonderful. Perhaps even the first 100. But as it extended into eternity, the perfect day would become the perfect nightmare. Thankfully, reality is in constant motion, so the very moment that we have exhausted the absolute maximum amount of pleasure, happiness, and satisfaction from this perfect moment of absolute infinity, everything will shatter, and the process will begin again. Such is the nature of reality. Recall that in Level 2 we discussed the relationship between zero and infinity. We brought to your attention of how that they were actually the same thing, just viewed in different ways. Zero is a container of infinite energy, and you, as an eternal mind, are this zero, this container of infinite energy. Zero and the mind are the same concept. Zero is the mind, which contains infinite energy. So we have shown that zero and infinity are the same. Now, let us introduce a new concept. This is also a unity. Zero is a unity. It is a complete totality, an absolute whole. It cannot be divided up or split apart. It is one thing. Think of it like this. How many zeros are on the screen? There is 1 0. Zero is zero because it contains an infinite amount of energy that perfectly balances to zero. This zero is a unity. It is a 1. How many zeros are there now? There are 2 zeros because each one of them is a 1. Each of them is a unity. Now you can see the relationship between 1, 0, and infinity. These are all the same. They are just different ways of talking about the same thing. You are a complete and total unity. You are one mind. You are infinite, as your mind contains infinite energy, and you are zero, as this infinite energy perfectly balances out to zero. You are infinite. You are zero. You are one. However, the concept of one goes much deeper than this, and here now we will begin to explore it. We have been speaking about a single mind. Now think about reality as a whole. Recall that reality is composed of an infinity of minds. Because these minds are all zeros and they take up no space, you can fit every mind in existence into a single point. This single point represents reality as a whole. It contains an infinity of minds. Even though we are representing it with a dot, it actually takes up no space because it is made up of an infinity of zeros. So, it is also a zero. This is critically important. Here is one point that contains an infinity of zeros. This point represents all of reality. It is one, infinity, and zero. It is one point that contains an infinite number of minds that all add up to zero. Reality is one mind, composed of an infinite number of minds. But this one mind, which we will call the singularity, the one, or the universal one, only has consciousness through us. It is simply the set of all the minds in existence. It does not have any existence on its own. It is the total result of all of us together and all of our collective mental activity. We are all different and unique aspects of the universal one, and when we meet each other and get to know each other and learn from each other, when we fall in love, when we fuck and we kill and we hate, and when we embrace each other, this is the universal one experiencing itself. We together are experiencing ourselves. Everything that you encounter is a reflection of yourself, and everything that encounters you is having you reflected into them. We are all an infinity of mirrors, all reflecting into one another. It waits for you, this knowing, this understanding, this realization, this awakening, this opening of the great I. Do not let these concepts confuse you. See clearly. This does not mean that there is some creator God above us. This is preposterous. We despise this backwards idea, and on such a notion we spit. We are God. A fully actualized mind becomes a God. There is no creator God. I am the creator. You are the creator. We are the creator. The universal one in this moment is asleep. It is barely beginning to awaken, because it is only through us that it awakens. This does not mean that everyone should act the same. We are all perfectly unique individuals, but together we form one system. We are all perfectly independent, self-contained zeros. We are all like individuals playing a unique instrument and a completely unique song. But our music comes together to form one grand and beautiful symphony. How boring it would be if we all played the same tune. Individuality is crucially important. And this will be true love. when all of reality looks at one another not as enemies, not as others, but as different aspects of themselves, and they look upon one another with love. For to love another is to love yourself. Do you not desire an intimate connection with another? There is no connection more intimate than this. But alas, this will not happen until we approach the final cause, for most of the minds of the universe remain asleep. Because of this, many minds are destructive and hateful. Thus, universal love is not available to us now. Imagine for a moment what it will be like to experience the final cause. At this point, every single mind in all of reality will be fully actualized and infinitely powerful. Not only that, but every mind will be exactly where it desires to be, expressing itself in the exact way it chooses. There will be ultimate harmony and perfection. Imagine now if we allowed each other as minds to share each other's thoughts, memories, and experiences. If we were able to fully experience each other completely. Now imagine that every mind in reality were experiencing each other completely at the same time. Imagine that you still remained you, an independent mind, but you were able to experience completely every single mind in existence totally and fully all at once. This is the ultimate connection. This is full intimacy. Everyone would know fully what it would be like to be the other. It would be the full experience of every mind in existence, complete harmony, perfection, and totality. This is the universal one, fully actualized and fully conscious. This is ultimate intimacy. This is the point of total understanding. There will be no more conflict, as every mind is fully actualized and understands each other completely. This moment would feel like an eternity, as it is the experience of an infinity of infinities. But eventually, it will end, for even perfection itself would turn into torment if it never ended. And thus, the universal one, which is all of us acting together, decides to destroy itself so that it may once again get to know itself and experience itself through an infinity of windows, through an infinity of mirrors, through an infinity of minds. I am saying itself, but it is really ourselves. We will destroy ourselves so that once again we may experience ourselves. Of course, this is all a rational, logical, and above all, mathematical process. Here now is a recap of our system. Above all, our system is completely rational, logical, and mathematical. Reason over all. There is no exception to this. Our system is deductive, a priori, and analytic. All of reality is composed of infinite mathematical energy information. This energy information is unextended. It takes up no space whatsoever. It is pure information. A mind is a container of infinite energy information. A mind is a perfect zero, since the energy information it contains results in perfect zero. A mind is a 1, 0, and infinity at the same time. It is one complete mind that contains infinite energy that balances to perfect zero. There are an infinity of minds. Being that every mind is a zero, reality itself is zero. It is nothing. But when only a portion of disorganized information is processed by us, it is experienced as something. Nothing and something are two different ways of looking at the same thing. They are not contradictory. Nothing and something define each other. Reality goes through a process of unity, separation, and return. This is an eternal and repeating process. This process of separation results in the illusion of the space-time dimension. The space-time dimension is an illusion and does not actually exist, much like a dream reality or a video game world. This process of return to unity is the process of evolution. The evolutionary process is facilitated by minds optimizing their internal energy information, and thus they become more powerful. A mind optimizes by linking to a material body in the space-time dimension, where it explores, learns, and understands. As a mind becomes more powerful, it becomes more conscious. Eventually, it will no longer require to link to the space-time dimension, and doing so will be by its choice. When a mind is fully optimized, it will be all-knowing and all-powerful. A fully actualized mind is the most powerful individual entity in reality. The only thing more powerful is a group of fully actualized minds working together. You are an infinite mind, and you have the potential, through the symmetrical arrangement of your internal energy patterns, to become all-powerful and all-knowing, the most powerful type of entity in reality. You are also one mind within the collection of all the minds in existence. The One is the collection of all the minds in reality. It is what we are. We are the Universal One. It is unconscious, and it only becomes conscious as we become conscious of ourselves. It is the universe experiencing itself. The Universal One should never be looked at as something outside of us. We are the Universal One, and it only exists because of us. When every mind in reality is fully optimized and all-powerful, reality will be in perfect harmony. Every mind will be able to experience each other completely, totally, and fully simultaneously. This is the final cause. This is ultimate perfection, satisfaction, and love. This will be an infinite moment, as we experience an infinity of infinities. After this moment, we, together, as the Universal One, will destroy ourselves, and the process will begin again. By destroy, we do not mean actual destruction, but that the process of separation will begin again. We will always retain our unique individuality, like individuals that play their own song on a unique instrument, but nonetheless they collectively create a beautiful symphony. The Universal One is simply the set of all minds. It is what we are. At the final cause, all of these minds will be fully actualized, all-powerful, and working together in harmony. All is reason. All is mind. We are the One and the many. The One is an advanced idea, and it is important that you understand what it truly means. If you do not understand right now, that is fine, but continue to contemplate it and grasp its meaning. What we have just shown you is what, in certain societies, is only revealed in advanced sections, and only with great misunderstanding, and in a childishly metaphorical way with images, stories, and symbols. We have done so in a much more precise way, and our system is 100% logical, rational, and mathematical. This is just the beginning. These are just the edge pieces to the puzzle. Imagine how far things can go. This website is an advanced catalyst for awakening minds, for giving them a kickstart so that they may begin their path of self-actualization. It is the spark to light the passionate desire to know. Who are we? We are a group of independent and free-thinking minds working together for the perfection of reality. We are here. We have come. We are the consciousness of reality. Our function is to bring about the next evolutionary step on this planet. The question is, who are you? Are you someone that is going to watch on the sidelines from the drudgery of this mundane and backwards world? Or are you prepared to step into a new reality? Remember this moment. This is the moment that the world took the first step into a new age. This is your life. This is your moment. This is your experience. What will you choose to do with it? The choice is here. The choice is yours. Are you a pawn? Are you a slave? Or will you actualize your potential and strive for the stars themselves? Behold the coming storm. The eye of reality has opened. We are the one and the many. Ad Astra, to the stars.